Thanks so much for being here today. Thank you for the invitation to be back. It's always a joy to be here with you. Welcome to our virtual community. Thank you so much for joining us today, and happy Father's Day. And thank you for the reminder of Pride Month and for and the beautiful prayer that was said. Thank you for reminding us that we include everyone. Everyone is welcome, and everyone is our desire is for everyone to be able to have equal rights to health and welfare and jobs and whatever. And so thank you for all of that. And when it was over, I thought of a prayer, and my prayer request is for all of us that have our dads are no longer with us. So we hold them in our hearts, that our dads are not here, but they're close by. They're always in our awareness and they're close by. So I know that for all of us here. And I was reminded of a story with Father's Day. I was reminded of a story of a young couple that had a newborn baby. And one day the wife was walking by and she saw the husband gazing over the baby, and the expression on his face, she was surprised by his intensity, and he had emotions of awe and amazement and a little bit of skepticism, and she just watched him quietly. And then she came around and she put her arm around him and she said, "Penny, for your thoughts?" And he said, "Wow, when you think about the details and the craftsmanship, it's amazing how you can make a crib for only $45.99. I always like to start a little funny. So Ernest Holmes says, my talk today is about the opening to possibilities. And Ernest Holmes says, life is infinite energy coupled with limitless creative imagination. And I know this month is about imagination. And so our life, when we look at infinite energy, it's about our creative imagination. And it's the invisible essence and substance of every visible form. Its nature is goodness, truth, wisdom, and beauty, as well as energy and imagination. So to be open to this infinite possibility, we have to know that we are one with it. And the more that we recognize that we are one with it, the more connection we have, the higher vibration we have, the more we are able to see those things that we desire before us. We're able to use that imagination and breathe into that imagination. So let's do this. I want to draw a line. So we're going to draw this imaginary line right here. And on this side is spirit. This is the divine. This is the infinite. This is unlimited. It is wholeness, peace, beauty, love, joy. It is everything that God is on this side of the line. And on this side of the line is where we are now. It's the physical body, it's our experiences, it's our beliefs, it's our aches and pains, it's our reality of what life is. This is where we are now. So here's where we are now, and here's infinite spirit. So this part in the middle, what do you think that is? Imagination. Yes, imagination. This is our curriculum. This is our curriculum, because this is how we do the work to get from here to here. And so, however we are called to it, whatever it is for us, our prayers, our practices, a meditation, whatever it is, those are our practices to get from where we are now to that place of the infinite. When I was thinking about this, I thought of Myrtle Fillmore, and I found her book, How to Let God Help You, years ago, and I pulled it off the shelf recently. And so Myrtle had, well, you all know the story better than I do, but just as a reminder, So Myrtle had tuberculosis, and she had many ailments that went along with it. It was had a very difficult time moving and getting through life. And one day someone invited her to a lecture by E.B. Weeks, who just happened to be a student of Emma Curtis Hopkins. And so Myrtle went to this lecture and loved everything she heard, and she brought it back and she started using it. And here's what she says. I told the life in my liver that it was not lazy and unhealthy, but full of vigor and energy. I told the life in my stomach that it was not weak and inefficient, but energetic, strong, and intelligent. I told the life in my abdomen that it was no longer infested with ignorant ideas of disease put there by myself and by the doctors, but that instead it was full of pure, sweet, wholesome energy of God. I told my limbs that they were active and strong. I told my eyes that they did not see themselves, but that they expressed the sight of spirit, and that they were drawing from the unlimited source. And she goes on and she says, I went to all the life centers in my body and spoke words of truth to them, words of strength and power. I asked their forgiveness for foolish, ignorant course I have pursued in the past, when I condemned them and called them weak, inefficient, and diseased. And so she reminds us it's up to us how we talk to ourselves. And we know this, but how easy is it to forget? We have a pain here or there, and we get frustrated. Or we're frustrated that we can't move the way we used to, or we can't do the things that we wanted to do. And so we struggle with that. And what happens is because then we are feeling in that moment our emotions. We're feeling that place of grief. And there's many people that are going through serious places of grief, of loss, of separation. But it's up to us to take that moment and see, what is it that I need to know for myself? How can I choose to see this differently? And it takes practice to get past the emotions. Emotions are indicators of what we're believing, and they're beliefs from the past. So when we have an emotion, we're believing that from the past. So then I had to go to, well, where does that come from? That comes from the brain. And if you go to the work that's been done, all the research that's been done on the brain, when we have a thought, our brain is creating neural pathways. And the more we have that thought, the deeper the neural pathway, and the more active the neural pathway. So if I think, oh, I'm mad because my knees don't work the way they used to, I'm frustrated and disappointed in them, I'm creating that neural pathway. I'm calling on that because the brain is kind of lazy. And so it goes to what's the path of least resistance. And so it stays to that place, talking about and thinking about, well, what's not working? Isn't that what we do? We think about what's not working instead of what is. So Joe Dispenza, many of you maybe are familiar and have read his books. He's an author, researcher, scientist. He says what we have to do is it's up to us to create new habits. It's up to us to create new neural pathways. And how do we do that? Is by bringing in a new thought. It's by, he says, do not wake up and do the same thing every day, but find a new habit. And the suggestion is go to meditation, go to spiritual reading, go to prayers of thanksgiving. And gratitude is the most powerful tool we can have. And it's so wonderful how you're lighting the candle of Thanksgiving, that you're moving through this practice of not only asking for prayer, but coming back and giving thanksgiving. That is the most important thing, is to give gratitude and to let the rest of us know these prayers that we said, guess what? They worked. Guess what? They were answered. And so that practice of gratitude for what we have is essential on our spiritual journey. It's an absolute must. So for an example of gratitude as a spiritual practice, it's important to wake up each day and have that practice. And as we're doing that, we're creating a new neural pathway in the brain. Now, we're creating something in the brain that the brain can go to this new pathway and not to the old one, but to a new place. And as I said before, we tend to get stuck on our emotions. And one of the things that's important is to have emotional awareness. They call it emotional intelligence. I like to call it emotional awareness. When we have emotional awareness, then we're aware of what's going on. I have this emotion, but I am not this emotion, right? I have it, but it's not me. It's not who I am. I have it. And as we can make that separation for ourselves, we see that it's something that I acquired or that I have in this instant, but it's not who I am. I may be sad or I may be frustrated in that moment, but that's not who I am. It's a momentary thing. We have many emotions throughout the day. Has anyone had any emotions before you came here? Probably any of them, yes. If you haven't watched the movie Inside Out, I highly recommend seeing it. And the new one is out, Inside Out 2. And it is an animated movie supposed to be for children. It is for everyone. It explains what is happening with our emotions in a way that is brilliant. I heard a psychologist talk about it. She was on staff as they were writing this and creating this, and she said the way it's been produced and the way it's brought to us is phenomenal, because it gives us a way to understand emotions. And in the first one, it's about this young girl and the emotions she goes to, and now she becomes a teenager. In Inside Out 2, she becomes a teenager. Anyone remember puberty? It's a scary time. And so teenagers are having a really scary time right now. They are not understanding all the emotions that they are going through, not to mention dealing with what's happening in the world. There's so many things happening in the world. For us as adults to deal with it is one thing, but imagine what teenagers have to deal with. So for this movie to show the teenagers going through anxiety and envy and I forgot the other ones, what the other ones are, the new ones that are there. But it explains it in a way that's acceptable, that you can receive and understand. So when we pay attention to that, we are paying attention and knowing that the emotion is temporary. It's here, and then it changes to another one, right? We can be frustrated in 1 minute and happy in the next. Sad in 1 minute and joyful, or angry, or whatever. But that they move through us, and as we move through us, we allow them to be. It's not to suppress them, but to allow them to be. And so when we are aware of this, this is called mindfulness. This is called consciousness. And the more mindful we are, the more engaged we are in our spiritual awareness. So I read this article about a book called The Mindful Body by Ellen Langer. And they call her the mother of mindfulness. And I took issue with that. Because to me, Emma Curtis Hopkins is the mother of mindfulness. But of course, they're looking from a scientific viewpoint, I'm sure she is. She's a psychologist, a researcher. She's done brilliant work in the area. So science is catching up with what Ernest and the Fillmores and Emma have been teaching us all along. Science now has research that shows this is true. Your thoughts do create reality. Are you shocked? Your thoughts do have an effect on the body. Your thoughts can change how you go out into the world. So she's having a moment. So one of the research things they did was they put a group of men in their 60s and 70s, a small group of men in this home. And in this home, they furnished it with only things from the 60s. Appliances, there's no technology, the TV, the furniture, everything was from the 60s. No calendars, or the calendar was from the 60s also. And they lived like this for a period of time. And what they noticed as they went in and evaluated the men, they started youthing. They started getting stronger. They started remembering what life is like. They stood up a little taller. They were a little stronger. They were a little more active and energetic. They noticed the change that came over them because they were remembering that time in their life. So it's that power, because the brain does not know the difference between what is imagined and what is real. The brain doesn't know the difference. So as we imagine what we want, the brain sees that. The brain tags on to that. The exercise I use in my classes is to imagine that there's a bowl of lemons in front of you and a paring knife. Now, immediately, if you think about picking up the paring knife and cutting into the lemon, what happens? You feel your glands start to salivate. You feel something happen inside of you. That's just your imagination happening. So imagine if we could imagine something good happening. It's what we want instead of what we don't want. We want a world that works for everyone. We want a world of inclusion. We want a world of peace. We start to imagine. Some of the other experiments they did was they told female hotel housekeepers that they were actually exercising while they were working, which they are. I mean, the work they do is intense. And they said, you're getting exercise in. They saw physical changes in their bodies. But once they told them that and they evaluated them, they saw physical changes in them. They saw improvements in them. Now, I thought of my own thing that happened years ago. Well, first of all, let me give you the backstory. The backstory is, I don't know when it happened. I don't know why or when it happened, but for some reason, as a child growing up and as an adult, I was afraid of needles. I was afraid of getting a shot or going to have blood work done. I was afraid of needles and the doctor. And I would go in for blood work, and they would take blood, and then I would immediately pass out. I would stand up and fall down. And so then I finally got smart enough to tell them, I think I have to lay down when you do this. So that's the backstory. I was living in San Diego, and living with my boyfriend, and I became ill. I had what seemed like a cold and a cough, grew worse and worse. I had a fever, just had no energy whatsoever. It was like a flu, but it was just not going away. And the doctor gave me all kinds of things to take, and cough medicine with codeine in it, and which wasn't helping. And I was really frustrated. And I called her and I said, this is not getting better. This has been going on for several weeks and it's not getting better. And we've got to do something about this. And she says, well, try this new medicine, and if it doesn't help in a couple days, then come in, because it might be malaria. And so we'll have to get you tested and give you a vaccine. What? I hung up the phone and I looked at my boyfriend and I went, I do not have malaria and I am finished being sick. And that was it. The next day I woke up and I was fine. But it wasn't out of my oneness with God, it was out of pure fear. And that's the emotion that I had behind it. I had this emotion that I am not going to go into that doctor and be tested. I am not going to have a vaccine or blood work done. It was out of fear, but I had that strong emotion. When we do our prayer work with that same emotion, I know that I am one with the infinite presence of God. I know the power that's here. I have this power, and this power is magnificent, and it is mine now. When we have that energy, we bring that into our awareness. I notice sometimes I get frustrated with looking at the news and what's being projected and the fear that's out there. And then one day I said, no, I'm not afraid of this anymore. I know something as good is going to happen. I know that we are moving in the right direction. I am not going to look at the negative portrayal of the good in the world, but all the good things that are happening. And I think I said in my last talk, I watch all these good news shows and have all these good news emails that come into my box about good things that are happening in the world and people that are making a difference in the world. There's magnificent things being done in the world for the good of humanity. That's where we need to put our focus. You will not hear that on the 5 o'clock news, I promise you. So what can we do to practice to stay on purpose? The first is to practice mindfulness, to be the observer. What am I feeling today? Pay attention to how you start your day. Are you starting your day in prayer? Before you pick up the phone to look at CNN, start your day in prayer. Go to meditation. Go to spiritual readings. The Unity Daily Word. Go to spiritual reading. Go to that place where you have that connection with Spirit. Pay attention to your thoughts, your words, your attitudes, your emotions. Second thing is practice reframing emotions. Reframe them. I am not my emotions. I have emotions, but I am not my emotions. Repeat after me. I have emotions. I am not my emotions. Exactly. I have them. I am not them. Pay attention to what's going on in your mind, in your body, in your awareness. Practice. The third one is practice gratitude. Practice gratitude every chance you get. One of the things that Joe Dispenza says is to pay attention to what's around you and to begin to notice new things. Take a minute right now and look around the room. Some of you have been here before and maybe it's your first time. Look around the room and see if you notice one or two things that you have not seen before, that you have not noticed before. And as you do that, as you pay attention to that, you are opening your brain to seeing new things, to having new awareness. And as you do that, Practice gratitude for the things you see before you. Practice gratitude for the smallest thing, a new idea that you have, that's spirit moving through you, for a healthy body. For me, one knee's working great, the other one not so much. Grateful for the good knee. Grateful, send those body parts love. Give love and thanksgiving to them. Practice gratitude. Our spirit, mind, and body. Our spirit is our oneness, our soul connection. Our mind is our awareness, our thought process. And the physical body is the container, the vessel for all of us. So we are the vibration of spirit expressing through us. But because our spirit, mind, body connection is always changing, our frequency changes. And so our frequency is that which goes out into the world. So when we do this work, we raise our vibration to connect with the divine. We move closer on that line to the divine. We're connecting with the divine. And as we connect with the divine, we project that out into the world. Now we're projecting at whatever level. And have you ever walked into a room with someone and felt the frequency that is not on a very high level? Yeah, we felt that before. But as we can be in the place of gratitude, as we can be in a place of love, as we can be in a place of appreciation, we are in that higher vibration. We're in that place of love, in that place of spirit. So that's what we want to practice, because our vibration and that frequency makes a difference in the world. When it's higher, we're contributing to the frequency on the planet. So the more we do this work, the more we are aware of the presence and power, the more we are willing to be that frequency and that vibration, we are sending that good out into the world. So my vibration is my divine connection with the universal flow. So as I recognize that my vibration is my divine connection with the universal flow, my intention in life is to raise my vibration. My job, my daily job, is spiritual practice that helps me raise my vibration. My job is the curriculum, is to do the work of the curriculum. My frequency is the energy I emit as a result of my intention and my practice. My work in the world is to express my intention, my frequency, and love in the world as service. My service is to give love. My vision is to express love. And my life is to live as love. Let's say those last three together. My service is to give love. My service is to give love. My vision is to express love. My vision is to express love. My life is to live as love. My life is to live as love. So let's just. You are love. We are love. Yes, we are the presence of love. Thank you. So let me close it in prayer, and then I will take us through our meditation. Or let's do the meditation first and then close in prayer. So take a moment, take a breath. Find that centered place within yourself. Sit up in your chair. Feel your feet on the floor and your back against the chair. Take a breath. Imagine at the very center of your heart, there is a Christ, a light, a burning, a speck of gold. This aspect of the self between your breasts at the center of your chest is alive, it is well, and it is its own consciousness. In this heart's place, begin to activate the spark, this piece of light and bring it into alignment with itself as its creation. Ask the heart center now to begin to rise in light. Feel this flame become aligned to itself at a higher frequency. Feel the warmth of the heart and the radiating heat coming from the light at the heart center. When you feel this, acknowledge it, thank it, go into relationship with it. Your own knowing exists in this place. This heat in the heart is the Christ within you. And the heat in the heart that you are beginning to experience is your own light and your own interrelationship with the Christ. So now allow this light to fill you from head to your toes. Now it radiates out to those around you to fill this room. This light radiates out into this neighborhood, into the city, into the state, into our country, and around the planet. This light is the Christ. It is oneness, awareness, and love. This expansion is our giving love, our being of service to the planet. Just breathe it in. And give thanks for the opportunity to share this light, to share this warmth, to share this vibration right here and right now. And so how grateful I am for this opportunity to come into community this day. How grateful I am for this light of wisdom, this light of grace, this light of peace that surrounds and blesses each of us. And how this light goes out into the world as the love, in the presence of love, the presence of Christ consciousness, the presence of the oneness of infinite good, infinite grace. The light of God goes out to express out into the world. And so how grateful I am for this opportunity to come together and know this, to come together, see and feel this. How grateful I am for this opportunity and for this light that goes out. I know that we are blessed this day. And as we leave here this day, we take this good with us. We take this light and this awareness of love and shine it wherever we are. We emulate that love wherever we are and whoever comes into our company. And as I send this out around the planet, that we know that this light comforts any place where there is pain, any place where there is grief. We know this light lifts those who are suffering. We know this light brings peace and harmony to any place where there is war and discord. We know this light brings wholeness to any place where there is disease, and togetherness to any place where there is separation. For there is only one life, there is only one love, there is only one power. And that power is here, now, expressing to each of us. And how grateful I am for this awareness. I give deep gratitude for time here, for this blessing, for all of this, and so much more. Release this word in deep gratitude. And so it is. And so now is our special meeting.